right now in navigating, real life and family. And I'm sure a lot of us need prayers. At this point, it's a lot. And just reminding everybody, to hold our little morning power women and men a la Chris up in prayer. Just be in reflection today. We're fixing to get some horrible weather. So hopefully it was supposed to be pouring down rain at this time. It's not. So it looks like we'll be, on. If y'all lose me, that's why. Just to give y'all a little. So today, everybody has a cup, because if it is a morning chat or a morning power, what are you drinking? What's your cup? What filled your cup? Because I'm fixing to go into a saying everybody has heard of, seen, but I want to bring it up as a reflection, because we are going to, I know a lot of times we want to write it down. And of course, I personally did choose something that, how you say that they say Buddha wrote, but I didn't walk in Buddha's time, so I would not know if that were real. However, I could tell y'all that Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the news. Or who was the other guy? The radio, I just remember his voice, and it was like so always profound, in his wisdom. So Paul Harvey, thank you so much. It's like there's things I think I can still quote, because my grandfather, I would sit with him and he always you had to be quiet during Paul Harvey. And it's interesting because we did honor that. So what is the difference between I like you and I love you? Beautifully answered by Buddha. When you like a flower, you just pluck it. But when you love a flower, you water it daily. One who understands this understands life. So I'm going back to something that was embedded in my brain for the last 22 years. 22 years ago was actually when I met my mentor. And she says, what you water grows. What you water grows. I want to read something that I pulled up, and it was called A Note to Self. You need to stop watering dead plants in your life. But being the word Nazi that I am, thankful to dyslexia, I became a person who my mother would tell me to go look up a word in the dictionary. Well, I couldn't spell the word, so how could I go look it up in the dictionary? And that would end up in a very frustration type feeling, and feeling unheard. My needs weren't met, and I wasn't getting the answer to the question. So I'd write my tennis shoes on the bottom of my tennis shoes were where my spelling words were. So as an adult in my 20s, I had to reteach myself and became a word Nazi. So what I would do is I'd look at a word and say, okay, what does the dictionary have to say about it? What does the Bible have to say about it? What does the writers, I would even go like, I love when Greg brings up sometimes like, this is according to the England, blah, blah, blah. He pulls a different dictionary and gives us a word. So one word in what we water grows is germinate, of a seed or spore beginning to grow and put out shoots after a period of dormancy to come into the existence and develop. Evolve, develop gradually, especially from a simple to a more complex form. Grow, germinate and develop, come into existence and develop and produce by cultivation. Cultivate, to break up in the soil in preparation for sowing or planting, raise or grow plants. Apply oneself, improving or developing one's mind or manner. Seed stage, embryo, germinate, water, warm, water, light. Growth, photosynthesis. Reproduction, blossom and fruit. Pollination, adaptation and connection. Dispersal, spreading seeds. Note to self, you are a gardener. Your mental garden mirrors the garden that you cultivate in your walking life. Your seeds of thought have the capability to blossom, to bloom, blossom, and flourish into fruit, to taste, to feed others. What you water with your time, your energy, your presence, your thought grows. Insecurity, optimism, disrespect, peace, lost, hope, good about self, conflict, negative feelings, contentment. We can all have a new conversation with ourselves, but if we don't know where we're going, what we're watering, maybe not growing what we want to cultivate in our lives. That hits us mostly when we're going through tough times. Because when we're on our best, our energy is brought to the table. When we bring our best self to anything, Wayne Dyer once said that normalcy is showing up when your family is in, when you have to go to the counseling in the halfway house when they're, you have to admit somebody into drug rehab or something. Wayne Dyer always says that when you show up there, show up in your best self and don't change who you are. It doesn't mean that that makes life bad. It means that you showed up in the way you've watered yourself. Don't fall prey that you're showing up there to lessen yourself. And this morning, I wrote to a friend in here, oh my, may you be pissed, sad, and heartbroken. Then pull up the next pair of pants when you are at your highest level and vibrate there. Allow you to be amazing, the amazing woman you are in leadership. Remember, you and your energy is then placed. Let me start that one again. Remember who you and your energy is, then place the unwanted past self in God's hands to be transformed. Reminding you who you are in your highest self and not allowing anyone to take her. So what do you want to water right now in this season? And I think spring, normally today's the 22nd. I love winter. And I know some people in here have told me that I like winter. And I'm going to tell y'all why I like winter, because winter is going in, the bear in the cave, and it's going in to our inner self and going really look and seeing, what do I want to leave in this cave? And when I come out in spring, what will I water and what will grow? And it's like I just realized, y'all, today's the 22nd. 22. We in 22, we in 22. I know it's 03 of 22 of 22. However, I think there's power in numbers, and I know that spring is it the 21st or the 22nd? But I know we're at a pivotal point right now, 2021. Okay, thank you, Paige. 21. So yesterday was the beginning of spring. So what will you spring into? And what I want you guys to do is just come off mute and write. And what you'll be doing is just writing that one word of who you're declaring you want to be in this upcoming next 3 months, in in who you are, because what you water grows. And Lisa came off mute. So Lisa, I don't know if you've been hearing or anything, but what's your word and what are you gonna spring into? What you water grows.
I need more time to think about it.
Okay. Holly?
I'm going to go with patience.
Let's see who's next. And Ashley?
Elite.
Elites. Amy?
Courageous.
Oof. So I love that one. It brings me back to John Wayne every time. Sorry. Becky, you're next on the screen.
Clarity.
Clarity. That's a good one. Kristen. And it's Kristen F. KF. We're going to come up with
There you go. Intentionality.
Intentionality. Corinne.
The very first word I thought of was me.
Me.
Come back to me.
Come back to me. That's a good place, because we have to sometimes study who we are. Paige.
Genuine.
Beautiful. Delma.
I think I'm going to go with my determination.
Determination. Abigail.
The first thing that came to mind was forceful, but not in a negative way, more like powerful.
Powerful force.
Yeah.
Power, becoming into your powerful force of who you authentically are. Good. So Lisa put power. And Cassie put consistency. So Andrea, Sarah, Lisa, Angela, if y'all want to write them in. Oh, Angela put purpose. Purpose. Sarah, I see you. I see you. Peekaboo.
My word is discipline.
Discipline. Colleen is acceptance. And I know we just have Andrea left. And I think Lisa, I'm going to push you. Sorry, I just jumped on. Andrea, what we're saying is what you water grows. And so everybody gave a word. So I'll give you some examples. Lisa said power. Cassie said consistency. Angela said purpose. Colleen said accepting. We're in spring. And right now we're planting gardens, we're planting flowers, and what you water grows. If you don't water that flower, it dies, especially in South Louisiana. I promise you, there's no no snow to melt and keep it alive. So Andrea, if you want to put a word just so we can family, Chris, I love it. And faith for Andrea. That's beautiful. So think about this. And I'm going to do 2 people. You chose your word, and I did not write everybody's word down, but I am recording. No, I can go back and get y'all words. What's mine? Oh, Lisa, you're the one. Look. She smiled. I had to look. Where is she? I said she's smiling. Lisa, I actually have 12 words written, and this morning it's probably empowerment. Just how you say that, I'll share at the end, just something that navigating that this spring. So in your word, Corinne, remind me of your word. I love your mug. I'm loving it. Yes, we drinking out of our favorite mugs this morning. Look, I'm just sending y'all some love. Oh yeah, there's the mugs. Oh,
That is mine. You guys, this
joy.
little cabin
Oh
is so cute.
Oh
My word was me. I just got to
Okay.
be back to me.
Okay. So in walking into her, it's now June 21st. It's summer. And spring, if we really water the tomato plants, like today, you got a lot of gardeners who's got their fingers crossed because we're supposed to have 40-mile-an-hour winds. Some of our tomato plants are going to be at our neighbor's house because they're not rooted yet. I love how this, why would I find one that would talk about germinate, evolve, grow, cultivate? What do you need most to germinate in your life to become me again? And remember, germinate is beginning to grow and put out the shoots after a period of dormancy to come into existence and develop.
Well, I would say the most important thing, kind of like what Chris said with family, but it's going to be my faith. And I've got to do my devotion and my study and my meditation to really figure out what's important to me and what I'm teaching my kids and my family. So I would spend more time in the scriptures.
Okay. And what does that look like to you?
That is actually getting up and starting my day off with, a 15-minute, we call them, little conference talks, but listening to those that have had their struggles and how they've grown from them. And because everything that we go through, someone else has went through something similar, and we can grow and we can learn from each one of them. And it's just, I love that you said, show up how you're supposed to show up, or I don't know. I always say, don't let the adversary win. Don't,
right.
Don't lose your temper. Don't, and I fail to that, quite often. So,
sorry, Lydia never texts. Well, I say she never texts me. Me and Debbie and her usually have a group text, but she's asking me a question. And no, yes, we ship to Alaska. And no, I don't think there's any extra shipping charges to Alaska. That's what I'm answering her. Thank y'all for y'all. Okay, so you've now done your 15 minutes of conference. What else would you do to come back to me?
Well, I would pray that I would remember what I'm here for, what I'm supposed to be doing. Because if I start my day with that, everything else falls into place, whether it's business, whether it's school, whether it's relationships. And so by starting first with that, the other things are going to fall into place.
So do you have a prayer?
Mm-hmm.
You do? And where's it going to be located?
My prayer?
Where's it going to be located for you to find every single morning?
I don't know what you're saying.
So you don't have any,
like the computer.
Okay, like for instance, sorry, but Catholics, like we have a prayer for the sick, we have a prayer for us,
Oh.
we have a prayer. Do you have a specific prayer, or is it going to be just a reflection prayer? But
A
you're going to
reflection.
reflect from a verse of the Bible and then reflect back to you, or so do you, where is it going to be located for you to do that, or how are you going to show up? Like what? You told me the 15 minutes about, the conference, and then what does that next, is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes?
It's however long it takes.
However long it takes.
Yeah, it is. It's a reflection of the trials and the struggles that we're going through, and journaling those.
Okay, perfect. So it'll be journaling.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like. And when will that take place?
First thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning. And when you're tired, what's going to happen with that journal?
I will get my hot chocolate cinnamate, and I'll just do it anyway.
Do it anyway. And
Mhm.
you know what? Some mornings you might just have to have a one sentence that you write in there to give you
Right.
grace.
Yeah.
Because you see, what she did was she just had a vision of what it looks like of her walking into that. If we don't do that, then guess what happens? We're not declaring who we want to become. And guess what? Is it okay if you do 80-20, Corinne? It is, huh?
Yes.
And it's okay if you did 70-30?
Well, there was a conference talk that I was listening to, and it says even if you just do 1%, be 1% better than you were yesterday.
Yes.
Because you guys, this life can be hard, and you don't have to be perfect every day, and you don't have to accomplish it all. I mean, every one of us would love to be 100K right now, but we can't do it overnight. We can't do that. Years ago, I remember, and I'm going to share this with you. I remember reading in my scriptures and having that distinct impression that if I will do that simple thing of reading the scriptures every day, I will not worry about my soul business. You guys, I met Curtis Gilbreth a week later.
Yep.
And when I am good about putting God first, my soul business, it has a way of kind of taking care of itself. We've had some rocky points. Yep. We have some rocky points, over the last couple of years, but you know what? We are cultivating and we are planting seeds, and things are happening, to have people that we're helping, like Kristen Brunius, what is she signed up 13, 14 people this month? What is that? You've got Angela Brzeski over 10. I'm at 4, and I've been gone a good portion of it. And things have a way of taking care of. If you will put that effort into what's important, other things will take care of it. And so even if it's 1%.
Absolutely, because what we water grows. If we are focused on the neighbor, and we're always telling everybody about what the neighbor's doing. Oh, the neighbor pushed out a fence board on my fence. Oh, the neighbor pushed out 2 fence boards on my fence. Or, did the nails pop out, or did the neighbor do it? My point just is that if we're constantly always talking about the neighbor, you see, we're watering that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we, who chose clarity? Was it Becky? You see, if we don't get clear for ourselves, because oftentimes, like Chris is clear that family is what he wants to be clear on, and what that looks like for him as a man. And the part becomes is that when we aren't clear on that, like this is not Chris's story, but I'm going to tell you, I heard something recently, because I don't watch TV right now. So I watch purposeful items. And this guy was coaching this other guy. And he literally told him, he says, you haven't talked to your children in like, what, 2 years? He said, get on, pull that phone up right now. They live how far from you? And, they were like, and he went to start giving, these excuses, and he did stop. That is your children. So you have to take a person like Chris and admire him for what he will say, like what he stands for, of that's your children. No matter what, you're going to want to put their heads in the toilet and sink it underneath a couple of times. I promise you, and they go bubble. I'm not telling you that's not going to happen. The point is that, but you stand for it and you remind them of it. So we're at the 30-minute mark. Thank you, Corinne, for stretching and sharing and declaring and walking into, because look, day one is done. Your devotion is done today because you shared a story. You spoke about what your prayer is for you. And you spent a good 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Okay. So you see, guys, sometimes it is just this, but you have to consider it and put a check mark and say done. And I'm going to tell you why. And if anybody wants to, in the messages, put that check mark and, just that done check mark, because what happens is we don't give ourselves credit. We talk about it that we didn't do it, but we actually did, because we said we didn't remember, but we weren't clear on what we're trying to do or what we're watering. Because if you know what you're watering, I promise you, you're going to be putting, I call it the little emoji. Where's he at? I'm like, where's that little done button?
Here's what I found.
Oh, he said that Siri wants to talk to me and I don't want her. Usually my one is the England guy, and my grandkids love it. But I want to put that check mark done. Guys, you've got to give yourselves credit. You've got to give yourselves credit. That check mark is for your inner self. That check mark is like kind of like Abigail's talked about. I want to be a fierce woman. And sometimes, guys, that's okay, because when you've been so passive for such a long time, that's the hard part. Which brings us to which herb? I am going to the Green Greens book. And if y'all give me 1 second, I don't have any water. And I do need water because I am navigating why we're going to go through Mullein. And that is number 17. So while I get my water, and if anybody, wants to grab them a mug, I'm going to get my water.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
It's National Drink Water Day.
Oh my God. Of course you would know what we're celebrating today. So I want to let Kristen know that thank you, first of all, for letting us know that. And number 2 is I want to thank Spirit for downloading that in me somehow, some way, because why I woke up with this morning and I said, what am I going to do today? And I said, I am just like, because I was trying to figure out what would go with Mullein, and I started thinking about the situation of the person that made me start navigating the Mullein, which the Mullein will help the ears, especially if we have fluid that's built up between the ears. And so I said, well, what you water grows. So of course, you'll know I'm going into so we're going to start first with the mind body, because I really want to encompass and empower myself. So Lisa, there's my word, empower myself, and walking into what I call mind body coaching. And my definition of mind-body coaching is bringing in the aspects of how the way in which we plant, we germinate, we evolve, we grow, we cultivate. And when we take an herb, I wish I had a capsule right here. When we take an herb, oh, I have some Soulflex. Can you imagine? That's always with me. Guys, this is energy. And if you doubt that, then that plant is dead. And so I, while I was navigating Mullein with a client, ended up having to navigate Mullein for myself because energetically I kept coming up with Mullein. And so Mullein will help 3 areas, which if we go to the Green Greens book, if you want to write your keyword next to it, it's going to be respiratory because I write my little keywords on my front page. So I always know, like if I look at it, I'm like, oh, respiratory. And then we're going to go to Mullein on page 71. And right there, I put lungs. And who can tell me what Mullein is in?
So clear.
Well and clear.
So clear. And what else you said, Becky?
Excel.
Excel, so clear. And what else?
I don't know.
Avant greens.
Thank you. Of course, Ashley would come up with that logical answer from the book. I love it though. It's like we forget. We got to write that down. So we have Excel, and can't imagine with spring, isn't like Mullein like going to just be our favorite. So we have So Clear SI, so sinus and immune, and then Avant Greens and Excel. So I actually wrote this down, and I guess I will share the screen so you guys can see. I'm sorry, I'm not your PowerPoint girl. That's not me, because that would mean that I would have had to not be present with my family. And can you see my Word? Can somebody tell me, make sure y'all can see my Word document? Yes. Okay. Now y'all are about this small on my screen, so I can see what people are saying to me. Okay. So on the Mullein, what I did was I went into a way in which that anybody ever heard of flower remedies? So Mullein is actually falls into, it's used within the flower remedies, but the North American ones, because there's like your Bach, there's your Australian, there's your North American ones. I love that. That's my thing, to just encompass that energetic presence of when we do the energy of the flowers. So lungs, in Louise Hay's book, of course, y'all know my Falling Apart book, is the ability to take in life. What's another word for taking in life? Can anybody, like, kind of, what words would y'all put for taking in life?
Laughter.
Ooh, yeah.
But on the flip side, like sadness. I mean, still, right?
So that's the duality.
Okay.
That is the duality. Absolutely. Because in the sadness, we grow to laughter. Because if someone is sad and you distort them, you understand where I'm coming from when I say distort them. What happens is that you can actually break them and make them smile with laughter within sadness. Get it?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else the ability to take in life. Accept, Cassie
Cassie
said.
had acceptance.
Yes, that's a big one. Acceptance of who? Ourselves. Think about that. So if a person, and I can probably put this in the, you know, the, I'll call it the power chat or whatever, the power chat, the, the group text. But I think there's a way once I get off of here that I can actually put that file in the chat. And if not, y'all just send me a message and I'll email it to you guys. So the word I think about is receive. That's a huge one with those lungs because of the simple fact that oftentimes when we have the ability to take in life, I take in life in perfect balance. So you have to receive. Remember, I like that Ashley did bring up the duality of the laughter and the sadness because they do exist in the same space. But if we stayed sad all the time, would we uplift people? It's kind of like the part where we stay stuck in grief. That is a very low vibrational frequency at 20. I don't want to stay stuck in grief. I want to become enlightened. I want to become more courageous. Amy used that word. So that's a very high vibrational frequency word because every word has a note. So the next one is ears, represents the capacity to hear. But let me take this further. Look how Kristen brought up this morning that today is National Water Day, and I'm talking about what you water grows. Last night, I couldn't sleep for a little bit because some wind kicked up and was throwing some things underneath our carport around and I had to go get them. But my point is like when I was up, I said, I did reflect on it. What am I going to do tomorrow morning? And I was thinking about the rain that was coming and, you know, what we water grows. So the ears go back to the way in which the body I hear with love. That would be the affirmation. So Sarah and Ashley, this is the book club we were doing, but we are doing the book, you see. I hear with love. It doesn't say with sadness. It doesn't say with grief. It doesn't say because it needs to rise us above to that part. It is okay to go and be sad, to reflect on sad, but how can we pull ourselves back to the place that we become our best selves? And then the other one is asthma, smothered love, inability to breathe for oneself, feeling stifled, suppressed crying. So in smothered love, what happens is that we oftentimes are over-mothered or over-fathered. It is safe now for me to take charge of my own life. I choose to be free. And sometimes we have to free ourselves in a lot of this. We have to free ourselves. And you know how they say that we outgrow asthma? And some people don't. And it does go back to the adrenals, just for the people who want to know that. Adrenals and asthma go hand in hand. So the part where I'm on page 71, and I just showed y'all that mullein is a mucilage. It helps to break up mucus. But the lungs, the ears, and the asthma is what it's known for those respiratory complaints. The Vitamins and minerals are aluminum, calcium, chromium, cobalt, iron, magnesium, manganese, niacin, phosphorus, potassium, silicon, sodium, thin, vitamin A, and vitamin C. And they are known for the lungs, respiratory health, asthma, and soothing earaches. And so all I'm doing is cross-referencing 4 or 5 other books and tying in the emotional aspects also, because those aren't written in our books, but that's what Jennifer Hochel, when we blended what makes soul oils different, they are absolutely done in the philosophy of spiritual phytoessencing blending. When we do that, we have all the geometry. Most of us didn't like geometry and didn't pass it with the, flying colors. You either do geometry or you do algebra. Your brain doesn't do both. So the part goes back with the geometrical patterns of the way energy travels, and that's the way it's blended. So it's interesting, but I have the clarify right here. I don't think we have mullein in there. I don't think we use mullein as an oil, but there are a couple of formulas I have seen that actually has mullein. So so the part is it's going to break up mucus. Now, this is where I'm gonna stretch you guys. If you wanted to break up mucus to digest it and get it out of the colon, what supplement from Soul would we take along with Soul Clear SI?
Fast track?
That's an
No.
amazing answer. However, it's not the one that's going to liquefy it. Let me say it like that.
Vertizymes?
Yes, ma'am. And why Vertizymes, Kristen?
Well, because it's breaking things down. So I would think it breaks down food, so it's going to break down mucus.
Correct. And in that mucus, when we have that large chunk that we might hack up or we might come out of our nose, you see, if you put a Vertizyme on it, and which one of the ingredients in Vertizymes is that set? Like, we actually get to see set on there. Look, we have another guy who showed up, Chris. No. So when we turn around and we do Vertizymes and we were to open a Vertizyme on that mucus, okay, what's going to happen to our waste byproduct called bowel, B-O-W-E-L, because I know sometimes I speak and I don't say things. So Angela wants me to repeat the question. So I'm going to think that the question I asked is, what other supplement do we have with Soul Naturals that will help break down mucus? And so when we take Vertizymes and I like Soul Complete, don't y'all tell? Vertizymes and Soul Clear SI, and then drink your Expel with your Vital in it. It's the perfect, I call it allergy. That's like my kind of, in the South, in Texas, they have those big winds. We're getting winds now. They spray a lot of poisons in our area because of fields. We have a lot of farmland. So we will get that in the air. And that's how I help people in my area is we mix Expel and Vital, and then we take Soul Clear with a Vertizyme. So my remedy is to have somebody take 2 Soul Clears and 1 Vertizyme every 2 hours in a highly active state of mucus. Now, the part also goes back to, I'm bringing in that flower remedy now. So what does the flower remedy? It helps. I should have put that on the file, which let's do that right now. I'm realizing I was trying to get this done flower essence. Let's do it. Essences. Let's do it like that. So the flower essencing is, it helps people who tend to lie, even to themselves, to face the truth. So I want to go back to y'all words. I want you to go think about your word. And today or the next day, I want you to discover, how do you lie to yourself about not being that word? Because you see, we get bitter, we get angry, we get sad at other people when they lie to us. But we lie. Who chose discipline? Somebody, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, Sarah. Oh, good. I think Sarah's used to me, so she'll know that in the way I coach. So Sarah, what's the highest item on your discipline list right now that you're wanting to walk into?
Daily meditation.
Okay, meditation, perfect. So what stops you?
Mismanagement of time.
Interesting. So what tool do you use to meditate?
Guided app, the Calm app.
The Calm app. And do they have the part where you can choose like lengths? So like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15-minute options?
Yeah, they have they have tons of options.
So if I were to ask you to only do a 5-minute meditation on your Calm app, could you find that time?
Yes.
So the way in which I encompass and walked into meditation is I started with just that 5 minutes on my Peloton app. So guess what? If I'm in transition, leaving from work to go home, and my husband tells me, hey, so-and-so called, they want us to go do blah, blah, blah. And guys, I had some people tell me the other day who I meet up at a restaurant, and they said, we see y'all everywhere. I promise y'all, if y'all don't even see half of what I put on, what we do that we don't put on social media, but this is what I told that person. I have my husband home for the first time in 40 years. And you know what? We're going to enjoy life right now. And we're empty nesters. And I said it in a different kind of way, but I want y'all to think about this. So when I'm transitioning and I'm coming home, and Becky's watched me at this finest, okay? I'm transitioning, I come home, I will look at him and say, give me 5 minutes. I will put on my Peloton app and meditate for 5 minutes and then get up and say, okay, I'm ready. What did I do when I did that, Sarah?
You gave yourself the permission to come back to you and do what you want to, do something to improve you.
So I want you to think about this. I actually plugged into the battery cable. I jump-started my energy for this next role I was going to go play. When you're going to view it differently, do you know that is the number one way to reset your energy? You are the only person in control of your energy. If you are drained in your energy, then let's write the list that's draining you where you're not recharging. And actually it's not you're recharging there, but you see, we generate energy. We generate energy. We do not make energy, guys. The thyroid generates it if it has all the proper nutrients. So helps people who tend to lie, even to themselves, to face the truth. When I saw it of the recharge, it has become a 1.5 years. And now right now I'm listening to this. Anybody who's in my Cajun Soul will know what I'm listening to because I posted it. And it's a 30-minute one. And I listen to it every single day. And I want to do it for 30 days. And the point that I'm getting at in that aspect is that it is helping me to see and think differently. And it's one of the oldest, greatest sayings that goes back to a Bible verse. The next flower essence, resorting back to Mullein, is helps a person to hear the voice of their conscience and act from a place of uprightness and integrity. Someone chose the word accepting. I don't think she's on though. Oh, it's Colleen. She's probably
I'm here. I'm just not on camera.
okay, perfect. So what do you want Most High to accept, either of you, and I want to say of yourself. Let's not project it onto the outside world.
I want to accept the situations in my life that I know I can't control.
So you're almost at that prayer. What's the prayer?
Accept the things I cannot, whatever, however it goes. Yeah.
Yes. So are you going to be saying that every single morning?
Probably for a long time.
Did you cut it out, and where did you place that?
I have not done it yet, but I am going to, and I'm probably going to have to put it on my mirror in the bathroom.
Correct. When I wanted to do something and start a new habit, I write it on my mirror. You will meditate for 5 minutes today, Chris. I literally spoke to me. So when I see it, I'm doing it. Mullein helps one listen to their consciousness and be truthful with themselves and others. I know everybody's capable of going read the other parts, and I thought Mullein was a very, I mean, you definitely want to underline the influenza and viruses and the antiviral research and the, microbacteria. So virus and bacteria, guys, that's our Mullein. About coughs, it's going to stop a dry cough. It helps things become slippery and slip right on out. And I'm looking right here. It even helps eliminate worms. That's why it's in our all cell nutrition package along with Omnitox, because it will help it's effective against worms and can reduce the stomach pains associated with worms, as well as eliminating worms. Similarly, Mullein is effective in treating a vaginal parasitic infection, trichomatosis. This property is an important combination to our arsenal against TICH, because conventional methods of treatment for chromatosis are limited. So it's very anti-parasitic, and that's why it's in our all cell nutrition. That's why it's in my combination number 3. Once we do Bella, then we do the 30-day cleanse. We have the 14-day cleanse, 30-day cleanse. It's the same. It just gets less aggressive. And then we go into the parasite. And normally what happens is after somebody's done 4 months of Bella is when I walk in, I start adding that 30-day cleanse. And then it's easier to transition and bring in that Soul Clear, the Omnitox, where you're taking them and you're actually helping the body to expel. And I want you guys to know something. Mucus is a what? Parasite. Because it becomes candida and overgrowth, and it takes all your nutrients from your body. We are at 8:58. I have 2 new messages. Let me go down. Let me stop sharing my screen so I can actually see the chat, guys. I love it. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's so quick. And Sarah's her and Molly's usually my typist. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage. Look at somebody else's word, courage is in there. Courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Do you think they would be safe for dogs to help expel worms? I would have to check. I do have a pet book. I know Mullein is safe for dogs. However, I don't know about the wasabi in So Clear SI. You know, I know we use Amitox for dogs. No problem. I'm perfectly fine with the Amitox. So we put that. We mix it with, you take a capsule, you open it up, and you mix you like about 4 ounces of water, and then kind of wet their dog food or open it up in wet food, and they will gobble it right up, just like black walnut. We've always used that for pets, just to let you guys know. I give my dogs Clear for allergies. Okay, so Colleen is saying yes. Sorry, I don't have. Clear has been great with pups in our family. So I sent a picture of Molly and it's so pretty. Oh, good. Oh, that's what's in here. Let's see. Let's open it up. Oh, yes. So do y'all know I was, we were whitewater rafting in Colorado. And I am like, oh my God, look at the mullein. And the guy, he's like, yeah, that's exactly what that was. And there's another one besides the mullein that I'm trying to think of the leaves on are very, very soft. And I don't think that's the one. Oh, marshmallow. Marshmallow and mullein will normally grow in the same area where you hike. And mullein, marshmallow, you can actually take the leaf and wipe like use it as toilet paper in the when you're hiking. That's what it's actually known for. But the mullein, you will take the flowers. So it's always from the flowers, the stem. It's not going to be from the leaf, whereas marshmallow comes from the leaf. Okay, questions. Thank you, Sarah, for doing that. That's amazing.
I just want to say thank you so much. This topic just like hit home because yesterday Brianna was diagnosed with asthma, and